So next we're going to start taking a look at what compound interest is and exploring it. But we're going to use compound interest and we're going to calculate it using the simple interest formula. And this is something that you'll have to do on your test paper as well. And so to find compound interest, you basically have to set up a chart and calculating each compounding interest separately. Okay, so we want to compare the growth of a $1,000 investment at 7% per year just at simple interest for 3 years with the same $1,000 invested 7% compounded annually. So we've got two different ways of calculating this interest. One is simple interest and the other one is compounded. So let's first look at the simple interest method. So we want to figure out the amount of interest that we're going to earn, or the total value, what it's going to be. So we don't know what the interest is going to be. We know that the R value, that's 7%. So 7% as a decimal is 0.07. The P value is your principal, so it's $1,000. And the T value in time is 3 years. Okay, so it's for 3 years at 7% interest with $1,000 principal. Okay, so the simple interest formula is I equals PRT. So first off, we'll calculate how much interest is earned. So the total amount of interest is the principal, $1,000, times the rate of 0.07, and then times the time, number of years invested, which is 3 years. So the amount of interest earned is 1,000 times 0.07 times 3. So the amount of interest earned is $210. Now that's the amount of interest earned. It is not, however, the total value of the investment at the end. The total value of the investment at the end is found by the A is equal principal plus your interest. Okay, so the final value is going to be the $1,000 that you started with plus the $210 in interest that you earned. So the final value of your investment is $1,210 if we calculate this just using simple interest. So let's then take a look at a situation where instead of using simple interest, we actually compound that annually. So what we're going to do is we have a chart that's similar to this. Okay, and so what we see happening here is that there is a row for each year. So we've got a row for year 1, a row for year 2, and a row for year 3. So at the beginning of year 1, the principal is $1,000. So now we've got to figure out, well, how much interest does this investment earn in year 1? Well, I is equal to PRT. So we know that the interest is going to equal $1,000 times the rate of interest, which we found earlier at 7%, times 1 year only. Okay, so how much interest did it earn for this year only? So we do $1,000 times 0.07 times 1. Okay, so it earns $70 in interest. So we want to figure out, well, what's the total value of the investment at the end of just 1 year? So remember, the total amount is equal to P plus I. So in this instance, the total amount is equal to the $1,000 in principal that we started with, plus the $70 in interest. So at the end of the first year, the investment is actually worth $1,070. So now, when we go into year 2, instead of having a starting value of $1,000, our year 2 starting value is actually $1,070. So we've carried it over. We've simply taken the $1,070 from here and we've moved it down there. Okay? So now we have to calculate our interest not on $1,000 but on $1,070. So I is equal to 1,070 times 0.07 times 1 year. So if we figure that out, 1070 times 0.07 times 1, $74.90. So between year 1 and year 2, we actually earned an extra $4.90. Okay? So our final amount is now $1,070 plus the interest that we earned, which is $74.90. So our final amount at the end of year 2 is $1,144.90. So now if we look to year 3, we take our ending value for year 2 and move that here in order to get our starting value for year 3. Okay, and so our starting value for year 3 is $1,044.90. So again, if I do the calculation, I is equal to 1,044.9 times 0.07 times 1. The amount of interest that I then earn in year 3 is $80.14. So my final amount is going to equal 1144.9 plus 80.14. So my final value at the end of 3 years by compounding the interest is going to be $1225.04. Okay, so if we compare the $1225.04 that we got from compounding it to the $1210 that we got from simple interest, by using compound interest in those 3 years, we earned an additional or an extra $15.04 in interest that was otherwise unavailable to us. So compound interest is different than simple interest. The final ending value is going to change. So simple interest, one way to think about simple interest is that it's relatively slow and it's linear. So if this is the value and this is time, simple interest is constant. Okay, you get the same amount of money all the time. However, with compound interest, what ends up happening is that instead of having a linear relationship, you actually have an exponential relationship. So it's increasing at a faster rate. Okay? So you end up making more money when all other things are equal, you end up making more money in a compound interest investment than you do in a simple interest investment. Similarly, if you are borrowing money, you end up paying a lot more money back in a compound interest loan than from a simple interest loan. So those are two things to be aware of.